Good morning, fifth graders. Today is Monday, April 13th, 2020. Hope you had a great weekend and spring break. Let me help you through some of today's work and this week's assignments overall. So I'm going to share my screen. All right, so as you can see, I started putting your weekly work up here and your daily work down here, right? So weekly work, we're not going to do any social studies this week. For science, though, we do have a new assignment, okay? It says, watch Mystery Science Lesson 1 and complete the KWL chart on Google Classroom. This is due Friday, so you can do it anytime between Monday and Friday. What you need to do is you click on the blue link right here, click on that. It's going to take you to the assignment on Google Classroom. You need to watch this video. How fast does the earth spin? Click it, and it's going to open like this. Okay, you're gonna watch this whole video. It's just like one of our mystery science lessons like we do in class. And then you're gonna come back here and you're gonna complete the KWL chart for lesson 1's mystery. Well, KWL stands for what I know, what I want to know, and what I learned, okay? So you can even write what you know before you watch the video. Like, what do you already know about the earth and how it moves? And then after you watch, or even before you watch, you can write your questions. What do you want to know about the earth and how it moves? And then what you learned, you're gonna write here afterwards, okay? Please write more than just one sentence each. I would love if you could write 2 bullet points or 2 details for each part, okay? That is gonna be due Friday. For writing, you need to be writing in your journal 2 to 3 times this week. Okay, remember that could be either here on Google Classroom under daily journal entries, and just add the date for each time you write, or some of you prefer to do this on Google Classroom. If so, take a picture of this QR code because that's what you need to sign in. You just go to the ClassDojo app or the website dojo.me, click use QR code, and then click I'm a student, and then scan this, okay? And then you can go to your portfolio and you can upload your journal entries there. But some of you have not started yet. Please make sure you do start that. That's your grade for writing, okay? Raz Kids, Epic, Amplify Reading, Khan Academy, and ST Math, they're all gonna be like extras now. I think you should still work on them, but I'm not gonna require 20 minutes every day just because the rest of your work should be what you work on first, okay? For ELA, today during our Zoom meeting, we're gonna read the article together, highlight new vocabulary in red, and then write a summary under the part that says write. Okay, so this is what the article looks like. It's about Steph Curry interviewing Dr. Fauci. It's not too long of an article, just 3 parts, okay? So if you want to get a head start on reading it, go ahead. I saw Bernice and a few others already got started. And then after you're done, you're gonna write the summary here. Okay, choose a person, event, or idea from the text and explain what the text reveals about your chosen topic. So just write about one of the people or the events in this article. And then you're gonna take the 4-question quiz at the end, okay? You can go back to the article to help you find your answers too, okay? That's due Wednesday. For grammar, I'm just giving you 1 page each day now. So page 32 looks like this. Today we're working on commas, okay? So it says within a sentence, commas are used to like set off words or phrases. So it's provided to like give a little pause or tell where a phrase ends, okay? So anytime you see like yes or no at the beginning of a sentence, you have to add a comma after that. Sometimes when you see and, or, so, or but, you can use a comma to set off the clause that comes after that or before that, but not always, okay? Also, the comma is used to set off a question tag, like in this sentence. We'll need to stop first, won't we? Okay, so let's check out every time they put a comma. Yes, Nick, we can make sandwiches. So see how they put a comma between yes and Nick to show that you're talking to Nick, right? Zoom in a little bit. Yes, Nick, comma, we can make sandwiches. So they put a comma after Nick too because it's dividing this clause, yes, Nick, from this clause. We can make sandwiches. Now, Why did they put commas after sandwiches, brownies, and shakes? Because it's a list of things, right? They're making sandwiches, brownies, and shakes. 3 things, so we put a comma in between each of the list of things that they're making, okay? Comma, but we'll need to shop first. See how before the word but, they have to put this comma? We'll need to shop first, comma, won't we? Right, so a lot of commas. It helps if you read it out loud. Okay, so let me get out my pen. Place a comma or commas where needed in each sentence. You're funny, but you act as if you don't know it. All right, where do you hear a pause in the sentence if we read it again? You're funny, but you act as if you don't know it. Did you hear it? Right after the word funny, right? Because the word but tells us that it's starting a new clause. It's starting a new part of the sentence, okay? Larry, I'm telling you that you're funny. Do you hear where there should be a pause? Larry, I'm telling you that you're funny, right? If you're talking to someone, he's addressing Larry, so the comma goes after Larry. Larry, I'm telling you that you're funny. Okay. Number 3. No, I wouldn't kid you about being so funny, would I? This one has 2 commas in it. Can you hear where they go? No, I wouldn't kid you about being so funny, would I? So after the word no, because anytime you start with yes or no, you put a comma. I wouldn't kid you about being so funny, would I? Right, and before the question, the short question at the end of a sentence, it's called a question tag right here. Oops. We need to add a comma too. Okay, so please go ahead and finish this page on your own and then upload it to their ClassDojo portfolio. So remember how to do that. You go to use the QR code that I pulled up before. Oh, where'd it go? This QR code, go to dojo.me, upload it to your portfolio to turn in that work, okay? For a reading, you're reading your chapter book or a book on Epic for 30 minutes, and then you're gonna type out your reading response. We're not working on our packet anymore, so you're gonna come into Google Classroom, go to reading, then go to daily reading responses, okay? So you're gonna first you read your 30 minutes, and then open the reading response homework every day, Monday through Friday. You're gonna type the title of the book you read here, write what page you started on. In Epic, there's page numbers too, the page you ended on, and then here you're just gonna finish the sentence and add details, okay? Write 5 sentences for each day. I started the first sentence for you. So Monday, you're gonna write the main events or ideas in your book. Tuesday, you're describing the character in the chapters that you read. Wednesday, you're writing what is the conflict. That means like what's the problem or the challenge of the story. What would you have done if you faced the same problem? Thursday, you're gonna write about what do you predict will happen next in the story? Why do you think this will happen? Friday, you're talking about which character do you like best? Would you be friends with him or her? And why or why not, okay? So that's gonna be your daily reading response now. Make sure you're still using your timers, reading your book, and then writing it, okay? For math, like I said, I'm not gonna have you work in the interactive guide anymore. I want you to just mainly focus on the My Math book. However, we're gonna skip around a little bit. Notice this week we go chapter 7, then 11, 12, and 13, and then we take our quiz on Friday, okay? So let's turn in your math book to page 651, this page. All right, we're gonna continue on with subtracting fractions, but ones that do not have the same denominator. Okay, so remember we call those unlike fractions, right? So subtracting unlike fractions is similar to adding unlike fractions, right? We just have to do the opposite, subtract, and we have to find that common denominator. All right, so for example, if a female Cuban tree frog can be up to 5/12 foot long, okay, I'm thinking in my head, I'm like 5/12, that's close to half of a foot. A male Cuban tree frog can be up to 1/4 foot long. I'm thinking about 1/4, okay, that's like a quarter of a foot. So how much longer is the female Cuban tree frog than the male? If it asks me how much longer, I know that I have to subtract because it's comparing 5/12 to 1/4, right? So I have to find 5/12 minus 1/4. But I can't just subtract them as they are. I have to find an equivalent fraction using the least denominator, the LCD. The LCD of 5/12 and 1/4 is 12, because if you look at 12 and 4, right, the least common denominator, if I count up by 4s, 4, 6, 8, 12. 12 would be a common multiple between 12 and 4, right? Remember, anytime you're subtracting, look to see if one of these denominators is already a common multiple. So 1/4, I have to multiply times 3 in the numerator and denominator. So 1/4 is the equivalent to 3/12. Now I can subtract 5 minus 3, right? So that equals what? 2/12. Okay, but it's not simplified. So I have to simplify it. I know they're both even numbers, so I'm going to divide the numerator and denominator by 2. 2 divided by 2 is 1. 12 divided by 2 is 6. So the Cuban frog is 1/6 foot longer than the male. So 5/12 minus 1/4 is 1/6. Okay, so you can use benchmark fractions to check. Since 1/6 is less than 1/2, your answer is reasonable. Remember at the beginning, I thought 5/12 is close to 1/2. And if I'm taking away a fourth, I should have less than a fourth left, right? So it is less than 1/4 left. Okay, turn the page. Oops, let me go back. What page am I on? 651, sorry. Let me pause for a second. All right, here we go. So page 652 says, Jessie finished half of her homework. Lakshani finished 4/5 of her homework. What fraction more of her homework did Lakshani finish than Jessie? So we know that 4/5 is greater than 1/2, right? We can first estimate. 4/5 is almost 1 whole, right? So 1 whole minus 1/2 equals 1/2. So I'm going to estimate or guess that my answer is going to be close to 1/2, okay? So if I subtract 4/5 minus 1/2. I have to find equivalent denominators, equivalent fractions using the least common denominator. Let me see, 4/5 has 5 in the denominator and 1/2 has 2 in the denominator. 5 and 2. Let me find a common multiple. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. 5, 10, right? So the common denominator would be 10, okay? So to get the common denominator of 10, I have to do 4/5 times 2/2, right? Because 5 times 2 equals 10, 4 times 2 equals 8. To get the common denominator of 10 for 1/2, I would have to multiply times 5/5. So 5/10 is the same as 1/2. Now I can subtract because I have a common denominator. 8 minus 5 equals 3/10. Is that in simplest form? Yes, it is. 3/10 cannot be simplified anymore. So Lakshani finished 3/10 more of her homework than Jessie. Okay, let's go down. Check for reasonable. Is 3/10 close to 1/2? Yeah, it's a little less than 1/2, right? But it's close. So 3/10 is about 1/2. Okay, let's do the guided practice. Subtract, right in simplest form. 3/8 minus 1/4. All right. Well, I know that 8 could be a common denominator because 4 has a multiple of 8. So I'm just going to keep 3/8 the same. 1/4 I'm going to turn into something with a denominator of 8. So 1/4 times 2/2 equals something with 8, right? Let me write it a little better. 1/4 is the same as 2/8 because 1 times 2 is 2. And 4 times 2 is 8. So I'm multiplying by 2/2, so that I would be subtracting 2/8. What's 3/8 minus 2/8? Hopefully you can tell the answer is 1/8. Sorry, my pen keeps turning off. 3/8 minus 2/8 equals 1/8. Okay, so your answer is 1/8. All right, let's try out one on the independent practice. 5/6 minus 1/2. Okay, what would be a common denominator between 6 and 2? Well, 6 is a multiple of 2, so let's just use 6. 5, 6 minus, how many 6 would be the same as 1/2? 3/6, right? Because 3 is half of 6. Or if you were going to figure out the long way, you would have to multiply times 3, right? 1 times 3 equals 3. 2 times 3 equals 6, right? So 2, 6 would be the equivalent fraction. What's 5 minus 3, 6? 2, 6. So the answer is actually also 2, 6. No, sorry. I should have subtracted 3, 6, right? So 5, 6 minus 3, 6 is equals 2, 6. So the final answer is 2, 6. Oops, sorry, that is not the final answer because that's not in simplest form. So if I was going to write it in simplest form, I have to divide both 2 and 6 by 2 because it's an even number, right? So I'm going to divide this divided by 2. I'm going to do 6 divided by 2, and that equals 1/3. So 1/3 is actually the final answer for number 2. Okay? Sorry, I kind of went into the space of number 3 a little bit. Draw a line here. Okay? So you need to be finding the common denominators of each fraction before you subtract. Look to see if one of the denominators is already a multiple of the other denominator. If so, then just use that denominator. For example, I see like 8 is a multiple of 2, so use 8 as the common denominator. Use 12, use 6, okay? Please try to finish your independent practice before we meet this afternoon so we can just check our answers. If you don't know how to do any of them, circle them so we can talk about them, okay? If you need extra help, I'm gonna post the link to this Khan Academy video that can also help you with subtracting unlike denominators or fractions with unlike denominators. It is pretty tricky, okay? Other than that, if you're done, you can upload your work on the Google Classroom under math homework week of April 13th, either there or on ClassDojo, but I actually prefer Google Classroom. You just have to go to Monday's slide, click take a picture and put your homework pages here, okay? All right, I think that's it. So I'll see you guys this afternoon.